Hello. So I think I'm now live again. So hopefully you're able to see this on my YouTube channel. Hopefully as well also. So I'm just going to go through a few things that are influencing at the moment and things that I'm doing. So I just want to first of all share my quilt. So this quilt is all folded up on this chair, but it's king size and it's all made from hexagons. I do have a bit of a thing for hexagons. So it's hand piece, so that means that each piece of hexagon fabric that I cut out is turned around a paper template and then that's sewn together by hand. So each hexagon is sewn to each other hexagon by hand. So that's the top of the quilt was made by that, and then so for quite a lot of years. In fact, when I told my daughter I'd finished this quilt, she actually said she didn't believe me because I'd been working on it for so long. But I carried, you can sort of see, for example, there, some a group of hexagons around that. So the pattern for this is called Granny's Garden. So there are lots of these around. Find you another one. As well as that red one. So see what's, and then I've also got paths running around, as if it's paths going around a flower garden. So you may recognise one or two of these fabrics. That one in particular, for example, that I scanned some of the fabrics and then created a hexagon design, and I used that on both my Etsy shop banner and also on my YouTube channel banner. So that surrounds, if you like, my other work that I do. So what I'm working on at the moment, and do add anything into the chat. I'm working on some couple of felted cards there. So I just thought I'd explain how these get built up. So the backing is a piece of wool, woven wool on there. So I think this piece is upcycled from a scarf, that particular one. So generally my work, I have lots of, I use a lot of upcycled materials. You'll hear reference to that as I explain some other things. So I have big storage crates in my studio with different kinds of material in that I use for different things. So this started life as a scarf and was, I think, miswashed. So it shrunk and then it was discarded. And then I got it and I'm now using it for my felting. So it's lovely variegated blue already, this piece. So for the sky, I just added a little bit of extra wool to give a variation in the sky tone, and hopefully you'll be able to see that sparkle there. So that's a little bit of Angelina fibres that I incorporated into the sky, because I do love a little bit of sparkle. So then I'll get the background started off with this pale green. That was a cardigan that had also been abused and discarded, so I used that. This is a little bit of tweed that I picked up on my travels last year in Scotland. So I love visiting this particular weavers on the Isle of Skye, and they actually power their looms by bike power. So the person sits cycling on a modified bike, and then that powers the loom. So that's a lovely piece of. So I got some offcuts from them, and using that, and then you can see how this hasn't been trimmed yet. So I'm going to finish it and trim it at the end before I put it on the card. So we've got the pale green X cardigan, we've got the offcut from the Sky tweed, and then we've got another piece of wool that was discarded in offcuts from a tailor. So there's a tailor who makes gorgeous wool suits in lots of different weights, and obviously he had some offcuts, but when he's finished the suit, so that's a bit of an offcut, and that's a really lovely piece because it's, if I can peel back, so it's, the back of it is actually this red, russet red colour. I don't know if you can just see that there, that's the edge. And so you get, as I felted it on, through that green, you can see the russet tones coming through. And that's what I wanted to have in this landscape. I've then added some wool tops, some carded wool tops in brown, and that's from a llama farm. So I got that. So what's left to be done on this? I've got some slightly lighter, and it's a bit hard to do. I'm going to tilt it a little bit so you can see my knee, my lap there, and you'll see how I do this. Let me tilt that a bit more there, and then I will lay this on there like that. This is a big hunk of an offcut from some upholstery foam, and then I lay that on. And this is a barbed needle, so it's got little tiny barbs going along it, and as that goes in and out of the wool, it locks it in place. So I'll show you that now. You might be able to see some little holes from the needle, but if I rub over it, those holes disappear, and that's, you can see I can't pull that off anymore. I just need to carry on neating that up, and I think I'm going to add some sheep to this. And for the sheep, I do use some wool that I've collected from barbed wire on my wall. So it's washed, discarded actual fleece, if you like. So as the sheep start shedding some of their fleece as the weather warms up, some will come off on trees and on barbed wire. So thank you very much. I will use some of that and add sheep to my card. So just find you a sheep end card. So that's an example of an end card that got a sheep on. So I use a little bit of black wool for the legs and for the base, and we then trim it up and mount it onto the card. So it all happens on a piece of foam like this. So that gives you the background to how that happens. So you do get a little bit of a noise when I'm doing that, so you can hear that. So that's one thing I can't really do if other people are around watching TV with me. It's a bit annoying. I actually quite like it. I find it quite therapeutic. So what else am I doing at the moment? Well, I've got 2 fabric weights that I need to finish sewing. I'm going to do that. They've been machine sewn with the right sides together, and you can sort of see that I finished them off with pinking scissors, ones that I only use for fabric, and that stops them from fraying. So when you add a little pinking like that on the fabric, it means that the fabric can't fray further than that, and that avoids having, the other option would be to use my overlocker or to do a zigzag on my regular machine, but that would create some extra bulk, and I think then that could be shown when it's turned round. So I'll turn this fabric round and you can have a little look at the fabric. I use a needle to just tease out the little corners there. You can see that. So this one is the pins and needles one. So I've got an order for that. So I've got 4 of them done. These are the last 2. So I leave a long strand from my machine sewing. And then for this, it starts off as a rectangle and then it gets sewn together to be a square. And then I put it together like that. And it becomes a pyramid. I'm just going to then finish this with hand sewing. Find a finer needle. And then carefully overstitch this edge by hand. Oops, my needle's come threaded. After one stitch, that's not a very good start, is it? Just folding the other thread out of the way because I'll use that when I come back. So I'm just very, very carefully doing small over stitch over that edge. So I tend to go all the way to one end, then back, leave a little gap, and then I put a funnel in and put the filling in that way, and then close the gap carefully. So that's the fabric weights. So I've got some made. I can show you them made. So that's one made, filled up. So that's the pins and needles one. Okay. And there are 5 other designs as well. So the oatmeal, so blue. You can see how it's got sew machine on, and this is sorts of sewing things in a cup. On that one, lots of buttons. This is the sew berry one. And the 2 other designs is scissors. This is a Rose and Hubble fabric. The scissor one. This is in a light grey with a darker grey scissor print on, and the other one is an ivory one in there. But I've actually just this morning posted off a set of ivory ones there. I need to make some more ivory ones today. So they're my fabric weights. And then the other thing that's in my to finish pile are the book covers. So I've got, at the moment, I've got a sew one that's got sewing words on. And when I say finish, they've got to have the buttons put on. And I spend a bit of time thinking about which button to use, and what I've chosen for this one is I've chosen to put on that button on there, sewing that, and then I've got a pearly one I chose to go on that one. So this book cover it started off as a dress that was then discarded, and then I've used, there were 2 pockets on the dress, and so I've made 2 notebook covers from the dress fabric and made sure the pocket was on the front of there. So let me just see if there are any comments in the group. No, can't see any comments at the moment, so do add any comments in and say hello. So this, I've got a box here with some other things that I'm working on, so a bit of behind the scenes so you can know what's going on. So I'm showing you this notebook that's made from an upcycled dress. The other thing that I do a lot of is upcycled denim. So this is an example of an upcycled jeans, and that's got a pocket in as well. So a handy place to put pens and other things, art things in. Because inside these notebooks is a A5 sketchbook with really lovely thick, sort of see the things, that's 1 page there, quite thick cartridge paper in here, so it's really great for painting as well as sketching. So that's that particular denim one, and I'm in the process of making some others. So let me show you. So this is from a pair of jeans. I've got 2 pieces, so you can see I've had to unpick all the way quite a lot around that on jeans, and this. It's got 2 pockets in there, so that's 2 fronts for notebooks. And then I use the rest of the jeans and cut the pieces up to then sew together to make patchwork to make the full cover of for the book. I've got some others that are in the process of being made here a bit further along. So I've got, at this stage on this was actually a lovely skirt that had been discarded. I think there was a small tear in the back of it. So I've used the fabric that was fine. It's got this lovely fringing on there. And that's some black denim. And that's been quilted. So you can see my quilting there. And it's been quilted with some batting. But you won't see that in the end notebook because I've got a piece of lining that I will then put on there. So I put the inside pockets, I think these are ready here, and they're ready to be hemmed on the sewing machine, and they're interfaced as well to make it quite firm. And these are what's going to hold the sketchbook in place. So they're layered up with the lining on the sketchbook cover front. So it's all made, sewn together, and then sort of turned inside out when I've sort of trimmed up and made the corners. So that's one that's been in the process of making. The one that's going to end up looking out, it's going to look like that. Except for this next one will have a different button on because I use orphan buttons. So there's the other new one that I'm just developing a new one. It uses this gorgeous Rose and Hubble Sewist fabric. So it's got some sewing machine scissors and pins, thimbles, pin cushions, loads of different things on there. So I love that. And I'm teaming that up. If you notice, my notebook covers usually have two different fabrics on them. So in this case, this is a Japanese fabric. That's with a grey that matches the grey in that fabric. To match this Sewist fabric there, I've got some Irish linen. So this is a gorgeous dark blue. So that's going to become another notebook cover. And that Japanese fabric that I just showed you, I have got enough to make one more notebook in that. But that notebook is going to have the Irish linen on. So each notebook is unique. So usually it's a different combination of fabrics, but even if I manage to make two, for example, out of a piece of fabric, like the skirt one, the button will be different because as I say, I use orphan buttons, again, that have been discarded. So sometimes people ask me, what do I actually prefer doing? I love doing lots of different things. And so many things of my stitching is quite therapeutic. So actually really going away doing freehand embroidery on the machine. And I'll show you what I'm working on at the moment with those in a moment. But also the hand stitching, the hand dry needle felting, all very therapeutic things, as is going through a box of buttons and searching for the right one to go with the right thing. So I love working in my attic studio in Sheffield, South Yorkshire. Got lots of light in there from 3 Velux windows, and I go up there to sometimes only get a short space of time to do it. Sometimes I can spend a whole day up there. My husband has definitely said that I come down from my attic studio a better person. So I find the creativity really calming and de-stressing. So that's, I might be doing all sorts of things up there, different things. And one thing I might be doing is sitting, going through buttons and choosing the right one, auditioning them onto my semi-made notebooks, for example, and choose which one goes with what. So also in this, and can't show you here, is I have some sewing. I'm actually starting to make some Christmas things, Christmas presents for family, but also be posting a new product up soon as well. So I can't show you that at the moment, that's a bit hush hush. But I was going to show you just said I would. I mentioned free machine embroidery, and one thing I've been doing this week is making some more landscapes. So I was focusing on this one, which is a very summery sky. And you can see the skies on that. So they are all slightly different. And I use Tyvek for the skies. So this Tyvek paper that I paint, but it's also very easy to sew with. And then that's put onto a piece of hessian or calico at the back. This is calico in this case. And then I choose some fabrics, and I use variegated thread to add detail and sew these on. So that was one design I've been doing this week, and then the other one is a bit more of a stormy sky. So we've had some thunderstorms this week, and So 1 minute the sky can be this lovely summery cloudy blue, and then it can go really dark before the clouds. So that's some more dark skies. And my landscapes are inspired by living so close to the Peak District, and I love going and walking in there. So I might be inspired by my surroundings to make one of these, or I might get some wool to make the sheep on the felted landscape. So they end up on a card. And that's an example of one that's done on the card. So that one's actually J05, being made in July. I'll let you in on the secret as to where the J comes from. Right. So nothing is wasted. You've seen from those landscapes, even little tiny bits of fabric, I audition those together for the different fields and hills and things in the landscapes. Slightly bigger. If it's not big enough, if denim isn't big enough to be the inside holding pocket, that's a piece again, denim that's waiting to be sewn on there. I've got some blue rickrack that's going to be sewn onto there. But if it's too small for that, it'll then end up in one of my kits. So I do the landscape stitch kits, I do some applique, some patchwork and reverse applique kits. They have strips of fabric in, and the other kit is the sashiko card making kit. So that comes with 2 different squares of denim. So the smaller pieces of denim end up in those kits, and they're sort of soft washed denim. It's soft enough to do your hand sashiko stitching in. It comes with the Asanoa template there and some sashiko thread. So it's close there. You can perhaps see that unlike English embroidery thread, which has lots of strands, this is all one twisted strand both made, and it has a nice matte finish. So next to the denim, that does look really nice when you do your sashiko stitching. So all the kits have a needle in them. The patchwork and reverse applique kits have a twin machine needle in them as well as a hand sewing needle. So if you want to get creative yourself, then the kits, I'm thinking of doing kits for my seascape cards. I've actually got those when we do some seascapes this coming week. So let me know if you're interested in that. And lots of different designs of cards, the sketchbooks and the covers, with a hot pads, oven pads, a lovely pocket in to be able to use, and you can hear some crinkly fabric batting in there. It's got some metal in there that protects your hand from the heat. So those oven pads. So please do go and have a look at my Etsy shop, and also you can, this coming weekend, this weekend is the 8th and 9th of August, on the Hopping booth, the Etsy Made Local Sheffield live event on there. You can chat to me on there. So I'll be popping back and looking for a chat on there to respond to throughout the weekend. So it's actually my mother-in-law's birthday today. So I'll be popping in to see her this afternoon. She's 94 today, so the same age as the Queen, in fact. So I'll be going and wishing her happy birthday, but I'll also be popping back and checking comments. So I hope you have a lovely day. Bye bye.